Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Welcome to Rage, you nerds. I'm Mr. Cack, and I'm joined by Albuterol Man, Al. Al, how are you?
Good. How are you? How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Didn't mean to use your full name there, Al. Oh gosh. So there's some stuff going on, but because of the writing strike, everything feels, and it stinks. We're going into the summer season where everything basically grinds to a halt, except for a couple series we're going to try to save us. You know, Secret Invasion will try to save us. There'll be some summer blockbusters that'll try to save us. But for the vast majority of stuff, things are going to die. Anime, and we'll have to lean heavily on anime that will linger on for a little bit, but even anime will kind of have a pause here soon too. But what we do have is we have a conclusion of a series that we started watching a couple of weeks ago in Mrs. Davis. We got some anime quizzes. There's a couple of other newsworthy things out there if you would like to talk about them in our free-for-all rant section, Al. But I'm gonna start with the thing that's most near and dear to my heart. Taco Bell has made the wise decision, the best decision, the only decision that they could ever possibly make to, you know, get me solidified as a customer of theirs. And that's they're bringing back, unfortunately on a limited basis, the Volcano Menu. I can have lava sauce once yet again, inject it straight up my butt and give me horrific diarrhea. Don't care. I enjoy the burn. I enjoy, you know, Al, there's certain things I don't understand in the world until you have a moment that you can run parallel with it. And I think the volcano taco and the volcano burrito and throwing the volcano sauce or the lava sauce on top of some Nacho Bel Grandes to give you volcano Nacho Bel Grandes. I believe the way that there's kind of it hurts me to eat it, but I love the way it tastes so much that I understand now why women loved the 50 Shades of Grey series. Like, it makes sense to me now, Al. Like, because volcano sauce, it's luring, it's new, it's different. It gives me just the worst bubble gut at the end of it. I mean, it tears my ass up, just like Dorian Gray did to that nice lady that he convinced to come up to his weird, creepy apartment and go to his weird, creepy fetish closet and get real freaky naughty consensually. So I understand the appeal of why women were being driven mad by 50 Shades of Grey, because the bondage in my life is volcano tacos. So Al, do you have any? Did you care the volcano menu is coming back? Is that something that you would throw into your repertoire, or is it a non-factor for you? And then, do you have anything else you want to rant about, good sir?
It's been a really long time since I've had the volcano sauce, so I don't remember what it tastes like. But if it's got a good spice to it and a good flavor, then I'll probably put it pretty much on everything. Because I'm sure it's going to be a sauce you can customize and add to anything you want.
Yes, I think so. That's how it used to be. You used to could just ask for it on freaking anything.
Yeah. Well, it makes it better with the app now.
Yeah, I know. It better be an option on the app for me to sling that shit on everything. So the taste, I in my member berries, I had to read about it online. So this, I don't think I would have ever described it this way, but this is how online describes it. It's a cheesy, tomatoey mayo that is spicy. Okay. Apparently the spice comes from, I think they said red jalapeno. Okay. That's where it comes from. So it is a harsher spice. I'll be up front. It's a harsher spice than maybe what you think a fast food restaurant's going to throw your way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's off-putting for some people because it's not making friends with you. It's there to wreck shit and go along with its day. But man, there's just something about the initial flavor of it to me. Just I loved it. But it does have a little bit of a quick bite to it of like, hey, this is kind of good. Like, this is different. I like it. Oh crap, it's kind of hot. Like, I'm sweating.
I will say, Taco Bell has really been stepping up the game with bringing back old products that have actually done well in the past. But they, I guess, maybe wanted to put it away in a vault and then bring it back for a little bit, just to be able to keep their profits up. Because I would say Taco Bell is doing the best right now, with either bringing back old products that people love or coming out with new products. McDonald's, I haven't seen a new thing from McDonald's in quite a while. Nobody cares about the McRib, unless you do. I don't know, but
no, I don't. I thought it was overhyped as crap.
Wendy's, I haven't seen anything new from them. The only other person I see doing new things is maybe the pizza chains, maybe Papa John's and the Papadilla, but Taco Bell has been doing very well with that.
You know, a part of me doesn't want to give Taco Bell credit because it's all like this, like it. I mean, it's not even covert anymore. It's just like they took a lot of these things out, and now Fortnite does it with certain like skins and things. It's like, hey, everyone really liked this. Let's stop doing it and let's give it a couple months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years. And then when we bring it back, guess what? All those suckers are going to be driven into a frenzy and they're going to get it. They did it with Mexican pizza. I honestly, the more I think about Mexican pizza, the more I think they always had the ingredients for Mexican pizza. You can't convince me otherwise. The more I think, you know what? They did this intentionally, and they always planned on bringing it back. But they just wanted to, like, you know, people are kind of cooling on it. Let's give them some time to think about how stupid they were for not hyping our Mexican pizza, and let's bring it back. To be fair, Mexican Pizza had a change.org petition that had almost 200,000 signatures, while Volcano Taco Menu had, like, less than 2,000. So apparently there was a discrepancy in how badly people wanted certain things back. I will give credit. Taco Bell does take into consideration if people want it enough and they campaign for it enough, it seems like they're willing to bring it back, even if it's just for a small window. So that's still dickish, like bring it back full time. But I can't fault them for having a business sense to, okay, y'all want it, we'll give it to you.
I mean, you know, they've been doing votes on 2 different items recently. When you open the app.
Oh yeah, for it was Doritos, like Doritos Locos, or the cool Dorito, the Cool Ranch Dorito taco,
and the Enchilito.
Yes.
So they do that every so often.
Which one would you vote for between those two?
Oh, I really did like the Cool Ranch one.
Did you?
But I love Cool Ranch Doritos, so
yeah.
I like that taco. The Enchilito was also good though, so that was a hard choice.
Yeah, I think I'd go Enchilito just because it's something I'd be willing to try. I don't know. Cool Ranch just doesn't get me as excited as just the regular Doritos Locos taco.
Yeah, I wish they'd bring back the spicy.
Yes, agreed. Those are my favorite Doritos flavors. The spicy nacho. Any other news in the world that you want to talk about? There's the unfortunate passing of Ray Stevenson, who was 58, not very old. We'll see one of his last work, his posthumous work in the Ahsoka series, where he is playing a character named Baylan Skull, I think is the name. And Baylan, he's the guy with the white hair that had the reddish orange lightsaber in the trailer. I don't know if you remember the trailer. His apprentice is I forget what her full name is, but apparently their last names, the 2 characters' last names, Skull and I think it's Haki, or maybe Hati, come from I think it was maybe Norse mythology. And both of them have like a meaning where one was the hunter of the sun and the other one was the hunter of the moon. So it's, if nothing else, it's just kind of one of those geeky things where it's like, okay, so maybe some foresight went in there, and what could it ultimately mean? Who knows? But they seem like they're the force wielding baddies in the upcoming Ahsoka series as we drag out the inevitable reveal of Grand Admiral Thrawn. I could sit here and talk about my love for Taco Bell and how much it punishes me for days.
Oh, it does sound good right now. I may have to go after this.
I don't know if this sounds good or not, Al, but the Mrs. Davis series came to an end this past Thursday. And I think it's safe to say that people had thoughts and questions. And I am curious to know your thoughts and impressions of Mrs. Davis.
What did I watch? What did I just watch? Let's see. We've got Miss Davis, who was made for Buffalo Wild Wings. You've got Wiley, who is going on the euthanasia coaster.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Holy Grail just blowing up and killing Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got 3 different plot points. Actually, there's 4 different plot points. The father has been there the whole time. It was a great ride from start to finish. It gives off that kind of Lost vibe, sort of, which makes sense because of the writer, and the director. It was a good ride. I think this is the end of that show. I'm glad we watched it. It was funny. It was very comical. It kept you on your toes the whole time. So for me, I highly recommend it. If you want a good laugh at a show, this is the show to watch.
I think so. My initial, if I'm being completely honest, my initial first thought was, what's dumb? But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, you know what? That's kind of the point, right? Is that, one, there's the cautionary tale of AI in general, is that we overinvest, we overhype, we oversaturate, we get too invested in the next marvelous thing that comes along when we don't stop to think, well, you know what actually are we getting caught up in? This is just a Buffalo Wild Wing app that got open sourced. Like, it's stupid. Lizzie says it herself. That is so dumb. Yeah, it is, and that's life, man. Some of these things, some of the things, if you go down the history of certain things, you'll find that there are such benign, mundane starting points for a lot of fascinating things. And because they found a new purpose, or because a purpose was found that became something life-changing, it's like, oh shit, like, you wouldn't think about it anymore that, that thing started out as just this awful concept. And I can't think of anything. I should have came better prepared. But honestly, people aren't going to like this. But isn't religion just a Buffalo Wild Wing app that kind of sparked out and out of control? Like, I like, you know what? Honestly, it's all Schrodinger's cat. Like, that's the thing I always go back to when I think about Mrs. Davis. This thing is stupid, or it's a cautionary tale, or it's a nice metaphor how, belief systems are shaped by the believer and not necessarily the system itself, right? Who cares that Mrs. Davis was a Buffalo Wild Wings app? If she was causing good in people's lives, if she was helping people plan a trajectory that got them satisfaction, but also genuinely, it's a happy accident. Bob Ross made these things all the damn time. We're going to turn this little happy accident into a tree. That's kind of what Miss Davis did. It wasn't trying to build a better society. It was trying to get you discounts on wings and make sure that you were a satisfied customer. But the impact was that people were being better human beings, and people bought into it. And Lizzie had to make a decision there at the end. Do I allow this absurd thing that is doing a large amount of good, but also still has the ability to lead people to ruin because no one understands what they're fully working with? Is it better to leave that unchecked, or is it better to check it? And I think that that's a good allegory for a lot of stuff. Crypto, NFTs, governments, people, religions, practices, mega churches, like all of these things. Well, it's not necessarily hurting anything, but should we leave it unchecked? I think that there's a very good pointed view there. And I think Lizzie made a decision that they framed it in a way at the end that you don't feel like I mean, you could understandably say, well, she did the right thing. But then you see some of the people and how it impacts them, like, well, would they have just been better off if they just kept living the stupid life that, you know, they don't understand? They found a higher meaning in it. Like, wouldn't it have been better to just still have that? I like that the AI was paralleled with people literally communing with Jesus. Like what Lizzie found, and I like that Lizzie had to destroy that connection too. Lizzie didn't get to have her cake and eat it too. She was getting rid of Miss Davis. She was also getting rid of her connection to her AI, which was, if you want to believe it or not, Jesus Christ falafel superstar. And I appreciate that they didn't levy it one way or the other. This is the right way, this is the wrong way. It was just Lizzie made a choice and there's a fallout, but I mean, that's life. If you want to, you could take the ending as, isn't it better that we take into our own hands our own accountability? And if we're gonna be better as humans, we need to do it ourselves and not kind of be corralled like cattle by an AI or a belief system. Like, just be good people. And if we end up in ruin because of that, is it better that we were able to have that chance to fail or succeed on our own than just kind of being cattle? And I like that. I can appreciate that stance. I think we are cattle because we are stupid. But I appreciate that, you know, they kind of went with the, but isn't this, like, wouldn't you rather have the free will than everything predetermined? Like, an AI predetermines everything.
Yeah.
The thing we haven't talked about yet is the AI creator and the nuance there, and the fact that it seemed like all of the black people were in for the series were in her domain. That again, I felt like there would be something race-based there, and then when it, you know, we found out it was a Buffalo Wild Wing, I was like, well, shit, like, that's stupid. But I do appreciate that she's like, it's an AI, it's dumb. Like, these things aren't super intelligence. They're just a code source that just kind of processes things, and they are able to draw quicker connections than maybe you and I can make, but they lack the nuance of understanding what they're doing. They default to whatever they're programmed to do. This thing was always going to drive you to get an understanding of where you satisfied. It didn't care if it led you off a cliff. It didn't care if it let your father rot in a piano. It didn't care if it, you know, had everyone get up off the beach to sing Electric Avenue for no fucking reason other than to try to convince this one girl who found the Holy Grail and survived a whale to go to Sandy Springs. Like, you know, like, it's dumb. It's all dumb. It's very dumb. But there's also the flip side of the coin. There's probably people that were watching this that had an easier time believing that an AI could control all of humanity than the fact that Simone was going and having an actual falafel with Jesus in pseudo space. Like, doesn't make anyone right or wrong. It's just a very interesting perspective of where we tend to find our personal religion. Have you ever seen a series that came on, I think it was Stars, called American Gods?
Is that the one that had? Let's see. I don't think I have yet.
I think his name's Ian McShane. Ian McShane.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched that one yet.
So that basically has a setting where different deities of religious or mythological backgrounds are actual people. and they exist in the world, but people don't realize that they're the gods. And because we've transitioned into the modern world where God worship, especially in America, isn't super strong, they're kind of weakened. But because of how America's become fixated with certain things, we've created new gods for America. And it's like technology, the internet, and like seeing how they interact with things. I think that this kind of spiritually kind of goes with that too, is that you have the interslicing of the old way of what religion used to look like, especially Christianity in this country, where everyone, the default was Jesus, to where now technology has become its own religion, where people place so much value and so much stock in that this is going to be a saving grace, or how much this is going to help us, or just how much it consumes our attention. So it's all fascinating. I think you could spin it however you want, but ultimately, Al, it's stupid. It's very stupid. Like, and I said this last week, if at the end of all of this we're just given a middle finger and it just says fuck you, like, then I think that I would still laugh and call it a day. And essentially what they did is they gave us that, but in a bit of a rosier setting. Now, because it's Lost, because it's Damon Lindelof, and because you haven't seen Leftovers, but Leftovers also kind of does this too, especially with conversations about resurrection. Wiley shows up after his resurrection, shoeless, all white. Does his demeanor seem any different?
Yeah.
Did you read into that any at all?
It's kind of like he was born again. So yeah. He's kind of like, he looked like kind of like the savior coming back to save Lizzie.
I mean, wouldn't it be a thing if, I don't know, who's to say that Jesus hasn't reincarnated in Wiley?
Fair. That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like everything's intentional, right? Like, the reason he's not wearing his boots, you could read it from one way of, he affixed himself to, like, these boots make me because it ties back to my trauma of not being able to ride Jezebel. And now that he's overcome that kind of hurdle of showing his manhood, he can now go boots free. Or inversely, we've seen someone else walk around barefoot, and it's Jay in his diner, and it's like, well, what's the intentionality of that?
Yeah.
I don't know. What'd you think of JQ? Sitting at the poker table, everyone's phone's going off, and all of a sudden he realizes what's up, and he goes all in. Because now he can actually play poker against people that can't cheat with an algorithm.
Yeah. See what cards next. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know what to think. You know what I mean? Like, we go on this long journey from the start to end, and that's how it ends. It's just like, I mean, it's a good ending. I wish there was going to be another season. I wish they could have figured out a way to, keep it going, but I understand.
Yeah. I think you can question the absurdity of it all, and is any of it real? Like, is any of this real?
True.
I don't know.
That's also true.
Did Wiley die and we're playing out in his mind? Did Lizzie die and we're playing out in her mind? Did Lizzie survive the Holy Grail? I think it's subjective. I think it's very subjective. I think you could take it at face value that we see what we see. But there's a part of me that's like, what if we just see what is Lizzie's heaven, right? Because after the fact, she's able to reconcile with her mother. The guy that she liked and still was kind of growing on her, he shows back up in all white on the horse that she was missing, who she thought was dead.
Yeah.
And she was able to stop the AI. Like, it's a lot of really good things to happen. Was this really a series that was always going to end on such a happy note? Or should we be suspicious of how happy this note was? Did this give us an ending that was just for our satisfaction, or was it a true ending? I don't know. Were we just Buffalo Wild Wings app the entire time? And do you want to go buy some Buffalo Wild Wings?
It's funny, like the expiration date they used for everybody was like because the expiration date on the coupons and the wings, because obviously Buffalo Wild Wings. I wonder how much they had to pay to be able to use that IP.
I don't know. I feel like Buffalo Wild Wings would just be like, huh, All right. I mean, it's publicity. Why
Yeah.
not?
My other thing is, we saw all these animals. We saw another animal. We
A
saw
camel, yeah, like the camel, and it fixated on the camel too.
Yeah. After the guy left the windmill, we got that last glimpse of it moving again. It started moving again. So there's that. I mean, they could do a season 2. There could be a season 2 somehow, some way they could figure it out.
Well, so here's how I think you do a season 2 and it doesn't feel forced.
Smash the
It's not that Mrs. Davis survived. Mrs. Davis shut herself down. But because the creator, Joy, put the code out there in open source and it just kind of started running rampant, who's to say someone doesn't kickstart it again? Now it's Mr. Davis or Mr. David or the Dave. Like, it could, in theory, come back in ways. And there's enough people upset about the passing of it that we could make the whole next season people hunting Lizzie down, honestly. And, hunt like 2 plot points. 1, hunting Lizzie down. 2, a resurgent of a Mrs. Davis like app or entity, or at least people trying to build something new in place of it. And they could go mythos with that too. Like that, I mean, when the deities fall, when the old gods fall, new gods will come in and take their spot. I mean, they could do a telling of people that have been. They could just make Mrs. Davis a religion and like the fallout of that.
Yeah,
if they wanted to. But yeah, it's very. This person on Reddit says, I only had 2 questions after the finale. So let's see what those 2 questions are right quick. Who was the stranger in the falafel restaurant that Simone meets in an earlier episode? I forgot which episode it was specifically. Yeah, who was the bald guy? Was that just to show us that other people can make it there? But why was he chosen?
Well, I think that, because she was, is that the one, you're talking about the guy who showed up when they were having sex?
Yeah, and he does like the,
I think that was Cupid.
Oh, okay. Number 2. Not sure if this has been discussed in another thread, but was the mustache discrepancy just a continuity error or an oversight? So people are talking about how Wiley's mustache has changed. Simone even referenced it again during the finale, so seems like something they were intentionally drawing attention to. For those unaware, Simone comments multiple times how Wiley has a big mustache now and that she hates it, but in Jezebel flashback, he appears to have the same mustache when they were together.
Huh.
I've seen the mustache thing pop up a few times. Isn't the difference that in the flashback he had a full beard as opposed to just a mustache? Maybe. The guy filling in for Jay was just credited as Ali. Oh, so she's talking about the other person that was running the restaurant. This person was talking about the other. You remember that episode where she comes in and there's someone else running the restaurant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who the hell was that guy? So if he's credited as Ali, it could be a prophet, right?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird. That's a weird thing. How would a prophet become the spot of Jay? I mean, I guess that opens the door for other religions to, in universe, to make sense as well. I don't know. That one's intriguing. Weird that truly devout people might never go to the restaurant, but someone who wants to beat up Jesus or is having great sex can get there easily. That is weird. We also never found out who beat up Jay or how Jay calls a plumber. Oh yeah, the water thing was interesting. What was the water thing about? Like before the whale thing,
yeah.
There was another time she comes into Jay's restaurant and it's flooded. So I do have some questions about that too. There were many contradictions and discrepancies throughout the show. The mustache thing, the 7-year versus the decade thing for how long Simone had been a nun. The who proposed to whom contradiction, the who stopped the encounter in the closet thing, Celeste saying, oh yeah, that was another thing. I don't know if you picked up on that, but originally when Wiley and Liz meet, they make reference to who left who. And then when we actually see the flashback, it's slightly different as to who left. I think Wiley said that she left, and in reality, it was him that walked out after kind of backing out on the whole taking off my belt thing. Then he chose out.
Yeah.
Celeste saying that destroying the Grail was Arthur's obsession when that infected Clara. when it was the opposite. Yeah, it was actually Clara's obsession that infected Arthur. The 7/27/12 date on the memorial bench, which was contradicted the Korean ship captain saying that Arthur had been missing exactly 10 years and 56 days, and that it was 2023. Huh. Yeah, so what's the point of these weird discrepancies? I think that goes back to something I said earlier, where do you trust that we saw things that we saw? Like, I think that's another thing, is like, how much of this world is trustworthy? How much of, like, clearly this isn't actual this isn't the actual world that we live in. Too much dumb shit was happening. The Excalibur battle, like, no one's talked about the Excalibur battle. The fact that, you know, the Holy Grail had to be treated like a baby, that was weird. That was a weird thing too. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, the creator of this he's just got some weird shows he likes to make.
I also wondered what the water was supposed to symbolize in Jay's diner. Does a plumber come over, and how shows up, punches Jay, come back easily as Simone? Is Jay being pummeled on a regular basis? Maybe. If Wiley figures out Mrs. Davis didn't blow up the horse, isn't he the one who organized the kidnappings anyways? Yes, but the explosives, he had them. Oh yeah, the explosion that happened. Who caused the explosion? Like, he said it was Play-Doh. He said it was Play-Doh. But also, we're told countless times that people are lying to us, right?
Yeah.
Like, even in this last episode, the lady that we see that shows up at the convent, the nun convent, to talk to Mother Superior about her expiration date, we find out that she was lying to Wiley, right? She was just saying he was doing a chicken shit out of doing the roller coaster, when in fact he went through with it, and she's like, oh yeah, actually it's just a roller coaster, you didn't die, but don't you feel like a better person now? Like, and I do appreciate that Wiley was calling it out, and I was like, you know what, he's probably right. But then when he got on that roller coaster, like, well, fuck, he's dead. Like, I did think there for a minute, like, ah, damn, he's dead.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we getting different viewpoints and flashbacks from different people at different times? You know, I just don't know whose main point are we watching from.
Yes, agreed. There's so many questions. I'll never be satisfied with the answers, is the thing. And I think that's it's a frustrating story, but I think that's a good story, right?
Yeah.
Like, they told something neatly in 8 episodes, and I have questions, and I want to build upon it, and I want to see more built upon it. Hey, guess what? You just made something that's interesting to me. Congratulations. I hate how it ended. I hate where maybe some of the plot lines went to, but there's enough unanswered questions that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm fooled, and maybe there's more to it. You know? How easy is it to fake a dead body in a piano? I don't know. Well, I'm glad he went out doing what he loved to do.
Yeah.
Magic.
I don't understand how Miss Davis just lets that get, like, I don't know. Maybe the mom and the Lizzie just never used it, but she always could use somebody else to find them and talk to them. So, just to tell you that your father is alive in the piano.
Let's see. My biggest question is, what's up with the cat? Why had he lived so long? Was it really the Grail? Does that mean the liver actually gives Simone and Wiley long life immortality? Or was the liver a total red herring? Oh! Could Wiley have survived the roller coaster because he's immortal?
Oh, that's a possibility, yeah.
That's a fair question.
I forgot about that, yeah.
That's a fair question. Matilda and the father, Ziegler, didn't seem to age that much either. That's true. They made a point to make note that Matilda didn't age very, very hard, right? Like she maybe had, what, like a streak of white in her hair?
Yeah.
But they didn't age her up at all. That's interesting.
I don't know.
That's
there's
interesting.
So many questions to the end of this show that
it seems
we will
like
never
it's
have
fake.
the answer to.
Like it seems like there's like enough stuff here that's intentionally fake. Like we've had a moment where people were put on a soundstage to show us like how just reality could be fake in the moment. I think there has to be something bigger there, but the fact that there's no more episodes makes me really frustrated that it feels like we're just on the verge of being told that this has all been one big trick, but we don't get it. Yeah. The professor's theory was getting her organs would give the user strong antibodies so it wouldn't matter if they cared about Jesus or not. The head explosion was due to the toxin. Getting the powerful antibodies to something this destructive probably gives people super organs and the ability to fight off things regular organs can't begin to comprehend. That's why the cat has managed to live so long, but probably isn't immortal exactly. Mary contradicts this when she tells Simone she's the only one who can destroy the grill, and Simone asks her if it's because of the liver. Mary says no, it's because she loves her son. The immunity thing was Arthur's theory, not proven. I guess we're meant to be stuck with the classic religion versus science debate. You know, I didn't think of it that way either. Was it the fact that she had Holy Grail liver, or was it the fact that she loved Jesus that she didn't die? Huh.
Yeah,
things that make you go, huh? Well, you know what has more definitive aspects to it? Anime. There was no new Mashal this week, but there was a new Demon Slayer, and there was a new Hell's Paradise. Let's start with Hell's Paradise, because I feel like there's a lot to chew on with Demon Slayer. Hell's Paradise, how you feeling as we've gotten to see a little bit more character development? And death.
It's coming along. The story is finally picking up, it feels like. We've saw another Tensen. Is that what they're called? I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called.
And it's not one. I don't think it's one of the two we already saw. So
no, it was not. It was not the two that were making love.
We saw we saw the criminal and the Asuman, and his master showed up, but I think were they like falling in love or something?
So, in case you forgot, Al, the bandit child who we thought was a boy turns out to be a girl.
Correct.
Because of how proper and how dedicated the Asuman Tenza, I think it's Tenza, how he was, and like how he just kind of went with his belief system. She got very smitten with him, so she kept saying, I'm gonna marry you. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
Like, you're gonna be my husband. Stuff like that. He's like, shut up, let's get out of here first, and then we'll worry about that. But yes, there seemed to be some feelings. You know, we never get clarification on if he felt anything, though. When he had his, what if picture of life flashing before his eyes, he did see a timeline quickly flash that showed him growing older and marrying the bandit child. So that's one of those things. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, he probably was developing some things there, but was that just because he was too stupid to find a way out of her constant marriage proposals, and that she was going to eventually just beat him down anyways? But yeah. What else about this episode, Al?
We see this badass Asuman who's blind. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, we learned that it's very hard to kill a Tenzen.
Yep.
They have yet to kill one in the 8 episodes we've watched, I think, or is it 6? I can't remember.
I think it's 7.
7. We've yet to be able to kill one. Even after we've chopped off a head, we've chopped off limbs. It's gonna be interesting what it takes to be able to kill one. So we've got the blind Asuman and the criminal that ran away. I'm sure they will roll into the other group, which we didn't see at all, I don't think, in this episode.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And so it'll be interesting. I don't know who else we still haven't met, but I think we met everybody pretty much so far.
All right, so I will confirm that out of the first wave of prisoners in Asaman, we have now seen everyone that is going to live and or die.
Okay.
Everyone that should be on the island or is dead is now on the island or dead.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, there are still more characters for you to see, but right now on this stage of things, so essentially the story kind of has two halves to it. There's the first wave, and then there's the second wave. So for first wave, we've seen all of the humans, let's say human side of things.
Gotcha. Okay.
There may still be some more inhuman things left to see, Al.
Cool. Yeah. So I had some skepticism about the show for a little while because it was kind of slow and everything, but it seems to be picking up now, and it's going to get pretty fast paced from here.
Yeah, you still haven't fully grasped the fighting style, that'll be preferred or will be necessary to fight Tensen, because right now the old sword and physicalness of it all doesn't seem to be doing too much good. It's at most you can cut off their head and give you a few moments to escape, but they come right back and they're insanely fast. And he put 4 holes in Tenza by doing like a Hyuga like hand thrust thing. So there's still something there. There's still that little girl. Their abilities look awfully familiar to what that little girl did to Gabimaru. Wonder what that means.
Yeah.
The blind Asaman, he's pretty cool. And he's got some badass moments left in him too.
Okay.
And he honestly, I like that everyone here soon, people are going to start figuring things out in the story, and they all kind of do it a different way. Whether it's someone teaching them, whether it's them doing it on their own, whether it's maybe some of them have been doing stuff subconsciously without realizing that they were doing things that maybe gives them a unique power.
Gotcha. Okay.
Pretty cool. If the next episode is what I think it is, we're probably going to see the starting point of another pretty badass battle.
Cool.
I think how it's going to happen is the episode's going to play out in a certain way, and then the end episode, I believe, will have us having an encounter between two forces that are going to give you the, oh shit, it's going down kind of feeling. But then that fight probably won't happen till episode 9. But I mean, yeah, it's pretty much straightforward here. There's not a whole lot of downtime. There's really not a lot of filler in this story. It just kind of goes, man. There's a quest. They have a time frame. They're given like 3 days to figure it out. And some of them ain't even gonna make it that long, Al. Some of them ain't gonna make it that long. Demon Slayer had a pretty badass episode this week. What did you think of Demon Slayer?
This show, it's been hit and run from the start. We haven't had pretty much any filler through any of this at all. We see Tanjiro about to slice this demon's head off to be able to finish this battle, and then a new demon shows up. A pretty badass looking demon too. Apparently the 4 that they were fighting before, one of them sucked the other 3 up into him, and they created a new demon. And it's got some pretty sweet powers where he can control it looks like either the ground or wood or something.
Yeah, I think it's a wood dragon.
Yeah, with his drums that's floating on his back. It's gonna be interesting what happens here, because Tanjiro is now out of his demon power, or whatever you want to call it, the red flame, or
his sister's blood had dried up on the blade.
Correct. And so I feel like that's a key thing that's gonna be needed to beat this demon. And then we've got the other the Miss Toshira, who is fighting the other demon, and Demon 5, who seems to be able to finally escape the bubble, but in lieu of the little kid being killed.
Hell yeah. Demon Slayer, baby.
But yeah, I've loved every bit of it. I'm gonna be sad when it's over, because I know we don't have very much left, and I'll have to wait another year and a half for another season to come out.
Yeah. What'd you think of the swordsmith that is so fixated on finishing Tanjiro's blade that he's ignoring the fact that he's being flayed from behind by the upper moon 5?
I mean, yeah, he is dedicated to his work. That is for sure. But that seems to be the thing with these swordsmiths people. They are dedicated to their work. And man, is he fine. We haven't seen these people without their mask on, and their masks are just weird looking. So
Yeah. Yes, very attractive man. Too bad that demon's gonna fuck him up. But yeah, it kind of, that's the sword that Tanjiro and the little kid found in the training doll.
okay,
And he's sitting there working on it, and he's talking about like how exquisite the blade is, and there's something unique about it because of how the craftsman signed it with just a letter instead of their name. How the blade is forged masterfully, like kind of feels like if he's able to finish that sword, something cool might happen, Al.
Yeah.
Or he could die. It's Demon Slayer. There's not a lot of happy endings right now. I will say eventually there's a happy ending. But Demon Slayer right now, there's a lot of not happy endings that we have to go through to get to the eventual happy ending that people were kind of conflicted about. But yeah, nuts. It was another episode without Tits McGee, so I'm always sad by that. But what'd you think of the Mist Hashira kind of going through that weird talking to what he thought was Tanjiro, and then all of a sudden at the end he kind of connected that his father, I mean, not only from the red eyes, but physically looked similar to Tanjiro. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know how that's going to play into the show. Are they going to be somehow related? Or I don't know. It was an interesting thing in the show for sure. Because I'm sure that's going to play some effect into them becoming maybe friends, them helping each other maybe later in the show. Not right, like by later I mean like next season, more seasons from now, but also later in this show too. But I don't know. That's an interesting take for sure.
Yeah, so you've got the doll seemed to be fashioned after the swordsman that was talking to Tanjiro's ancestor in the flashback memories that Tanjiro was looking at. And then you have this Mist Hashira, who the crow told us was the ancestor of sun breathing. Although he doesn't do sun breathing, he does mist breathing. So, I wonder if there's any connections there, Al.
Yeah.
All of this stuff interconnected. What could it mean?
My other thing is, we still that the robot still looks like Demon 1.
Yep.
And so that's also, I'm sure that hopefully that will be resolved by the end of this too. But maybe not. Maybe it'll be later. So,
don't forget it though. Don't forget it. This because it does. There is a reason. There is a rationale. There is a thing as to why. And Mashal just was a cock tease. But rejoice. Because next episode you get Puppet Boy and his Team Rocket, and this is gonna be the start of MASH versus a legitimate villain. It's the beginning of a wave. Like, it doesn't really stop. There's a couple episodes here and now that kind of take place between the different kind of big story arcs. There's like a shopping episode and a beach episode. But for the most part, it's pretty much All right, there's this challenge standing before him. Okay, now there's this challenge, and they go to the beach, and now there's this challenge.
Yeah.
And the hits keep on coming. But I am concerned that they're doing a 6-episode flashback right now, recapping the series. That makes me feel a little bit hesitant. Because I don't know what that means. Because the story in the manga seems like it's almost over. So it's not like they have to use a filler to give it time to play out. Like, it seems like things are about to come to an end. Like, but yeah, whatever. We'll see. It wasn't comforting.
Smash the dinghy.
Yeah, we'll stop there. Al, any closing words for the good people?
Just go out, watch these shows that we've been talking about. They've all been great so far. Let us know if you don't like them. I want to hear what you have. I probably won't care what you say, but I want to hear it. But just be yourself. Don't try to impress anybody, and y'all have a good night.